All right, here is our lesson 51 corrections video. Exercise 1 asks us to rewrite the chord in an open position. So I'm going to start by just drawing those notes. And then to open it, I'm going to take the middle note and I'm going to move it up an octave. So it used to be on B, which means it still has to be on B. We're in the bass clef, so this was great big dogs, and now we have great basement dogs. It's still G, B, and D. That's why it's still the same chord, because it's those three notes that when they're stacked closed, they're a snowman. Okay, up next we have A, C, E, all cows eat. All, we know we're going to move cows and eat, and we're going to move cows up to the next C up here, which is center. And lastly, we have all cows eat grass. So we have a couple of options that we can do here, but we're going to do this the easy way, the C, E, G, but we're going to take this middle E and we're going to take it up, up, and away to our second ledger line. Okay, so it's still C, E, G. Technically, you could have also done low C, G, and E like that. It's the exact same thing, it's just transposed down an octave. Okay. On the next one, it wants us to use the note that is given as the root of the chord. So remember that the root of the chord is the bottom note when we are in snowman position or root position. Okay, so if our note that they've given us here is the root, and this root is E, that means that it used to be here, and that the notes we need are E skip F to G, G skip A to B. And that gives us our first inversion triad, because we took the note that had been the bottom and we just booped it up here. Okay. Next, our root is D. So we're going to have D skip E is F, F skip G is A. Up next, our root is G. So it would have been this G right here, which means that the rest of our snowman are going to be B and D. And not lastly, we have lots of these. Okay, so our root is B, which means it would have been B, D, F. We're going to put the D down here and the F right there. Our root is F, so we have F skip G is A skip B is C. And then our root is A skip B is C, C skip D is E. Okay, up next we have the given note is the third. It wants us to add the fifth and the root above each note to create a first inversion triad. Because when we do a first inversion triad, we've taken the bottom note. So remember that the notes of our triads have names, the root or the first, the third, and the fifth. So it's telling us that this is the third of the chord, which is usually the middle note. But because we're in inversion, we've taken the root of our chord and we've moved it up here like this. So if this given note is the middle note of the original chord, that's what it's asking us. Okay, so if A is the third, that means that we used to have F below for our root and C above for our fifth. But we took that root and moved it up an octave so that we can have the third on the bottom, the fifth in the middle, and the root on top. Okay, so this is our third, our root, and our fifth. And so we see that our root is A. So we're going to take that and move it up an octave, but because it's outside of the staff, we need to add a ledger line for our A. Okay, now D is the root, which means that D is the third, which means that B is the root, and F is the fifth. So we're going to take our root and move it up an octave to this B. Now F is our third. That means that A is our fifth and D is our first, or our root. We're going to take our root and move it up an octave, not just up to the top, but up an octave. Because it was D here, it must be D here. Okay, now we have G is our third, so E is our root, and B is our fifth. We're going to snag our root, which is E, and move it up to the very next E. Last one, we have B is our third, so G is our root, and D is our fifth. And we're going to take our root, make the bottom the top. That's why we call it inverting, because we made the bottom into the top. Okay, make sure yours looks like mine, and anything that doesn't, make sure that you fix it with your red pencil or fill it in with your red pencil and submit it on Canvas.